your own voice, lead from within. Today I'm with Dr. Biggett. How are you, Dr. Biggett?
I'm doing well, Numsa. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. Happy New Year to you and everyone. Is the third today, 3rd of February. Awesome, awesome. So the topic today is how to rebuild trust after it's broken. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, be it personal, professional, or romantic. However, when the trust is broken, the road to rebuild it can be very, very challenging and emotionally taxing. So whether caused by misunderstanding, betrayal, or unmet expectations, rebuilding trust requires time and intentionality from all parties involved. So today we're going to share the guide of step-by-step to help you navigate the delicate process, restoring trust and fostering stronger connection in the future. What do you think, Dr. Biggett, about this topic?
I agree with you, Numsa, that it is a very important tool or an important step in being able to create not only a beautiful, lasting relationship, but a thriving life. Because if we don't have the ability to trust, and many times people think this about romantic relationship. But this is applied to everything, including work, as well as relationship with your friend, relationship with your family member. I mean, even relationship with your neighbor. Imagine if the neighbor did something perhaps unintentionally, but it's traumatized you, and then now you live in constant worry and constant discomfort, consciously or subconsciously. And or this is, let's say, with your significant other, then it's something that not going to allow the relationship to go smoothly. But even so, it will rob your freedom. You will not be able to be at ease 100% if you don't have the ability to trust somebody. So I think it is something, and at the same time, it's something ultra important. And at the same time, many times being a grief and trauma recovery coach and resiliency coach, sometimes people don't realize, number one, that they have lost trust. Number two, many times people don't know how to rebuild their trust. Sometimes they think they do, and then down the street they say, you know what, actually now I'm looking back. Looking back, I did not really, or I was not able to fully trust this person or this group of individual.
I agree with you, Dr. Biggett, because at the end of the day, when that bridge is broken, like what you're saying, is building trust is in every relationship, and when that trust is broken, so you have to take full responsibilities for your action without making excuses of blaming others and acknowledging the pain as well caused and expressing genuine remorse. So what I need to ask, like as a grieving coach, have you ever dealt with clients that are actually blaming others for the trust or the pain that they're going through? How have you find that experience with your clients?
So I help a lot of people navigate and recover through betrayals. And sometimes it is very significant betrayals that's extremely hurtful. And this come both in relationship, love, romantic relationship, as well as betrayal with work and money and career and so forth. And sometimes it's both, unfortunately. And in that scenario, yes, sometimes they want to blame others. A lot of people at the end of the day, they blame themselves. And to be able to rebuild trust. Now there is a little bit different between being a grief coach and being a mindset coach or a therapist. The approach is a little bit different, and not that anyone's better or worse in here, but I'm just going to point out the difference. And many times when we come from the point of view of the mind only, we are taught, okay, yes, the trust is broken, but choose to forgive, choose to get to move on, choose to do this and the bad, and so on and so forth. And many of these clients has done that. They've been to therapists, sometimes for years, and to mindset coach and so forth. And they said, yeah, I choose. I definitely choose. I understand the behavior, and I tried everything, and I still have flashback. I still have flashback the moment I hear that. I still wake up in the middle of the night feeling this way. I still that, and I am not even blaming the person behavior. I understand I contribute to that, but I just can't get over this dang thing. And every time I hear something, I still hear it, and it's like a whole triggers come back to me. And so if that is your case, where it's the intensity of the break, so to say, or the trauma, really, because what people don't realize is when there is a trust broken, depend on what happened, it could be a lot of trauma. And you are responding in the way of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And in that case, you are not, for some people might say, you are blaming the other party. By all means, there is no trauma if there is no other party involved. Yes, you are responsible in getting yourself better, but when it comes from the standpoint of grief, I hear you, and I can only imagine how you feel. And yes, the other party is fully involved in this as well. And with that, just know that it is possible, and it is not your fault that you have tried everything and you are still have not fully release the trauma and have not been able to rebuild the trust. Most people, for instance, does not realize that when there is a broken trust, there is a lot of involvement biologically, your neurobiology, your brain, the part of your brain that is the threat and reward system got activated or got triggered or really got messed up, so to say. Your body got into this is also why physically it's important to be able to rebuild trust, because when you're not able to trust somebody, so let's say your significant others betrayed you and you said, okay, for ABC reasons we're going to stay together, or we split and then we're going to get back together. But there's somewhere in the deeper and the deeper of your heart that you like, that still wake you up in the middle of the night. Perhaps she looks at certain thing in certain way and you went, is she? And in your mind, you do everything. You understand it's part of it. It was your behavior too. You do everything that you try to be able to trust, but someone you like, and when that happened, it's actually because it's embedded in your nervous system. When there is a trust broken, it's affected your brain, it's affected your nervous system, it's even affected your stress. Your body get into a stress system. You have here that people get into fight or flight, and then the body can get into a stress system. When your body is, when you're not able to trust, know that if you try the mindset approach and the therapy and you still not fully 100% there, that's because there is the other part of that which is deep in your heart and then deep in your nervous system and deep in your brain and your stress system physically, and then also into to a way to a degree in your energetic system. And so it's not your fault, and what you want to do is to find way to be able to recover all these other components. Well, all three-dimensional NUMSA as you and I and everything else living. And many times we approach trauma and broken trust and grief and so forth with one approach nowadays, which is the mind. But when something happened like that, this is why some people, even after therapy and EMDR and mindset coaching, they still have their trauma to a degree, maybe not as worse, as bad. It's because there are the other component. You addressing one of the 3 to 4 component in a human being that was damaged. And imagine if you have, a machine or something, a kitchen tool that's broken, and you only fix one part, or you don't fix the other 2, 3 part. That's not gonna function well.
And I like that, Dr. Biggett. I think, like what you're saying is communication is really, really important, and forgiveness as well, and creating a safe place for both parties to share their feelings without judgment. I think that is really, really important. And also understanding the power of listening as well. I think that is really, really important, and being transparent about the intentions of moving forward. I think is really, really, really important. And also, um, like the power of blame. Like if you say you forgive someone, you got to surrender everything. And we can't forget what has been done, but we can forgive and move on. So I think that is really, really, really important if both parties want to forgive each other and just move on and build that broken trust. Because we're human anyway. So somehow we are going to let each other down. So I think it's really, really, really important. And also for that person that feels the hurt, what advice can you give someone that feels the hurt, that feels that they've been wronged? What advice do you give?
I would say one of them is the myth that you have to forgive. And this has kept many people stuck because they say, I tried everything to forgive. My cat's trying to participate. Perhaps he's trying to say, hey, we know animal can help soothe one's nervous system. So here's Kit saying hi. But the one of the advice is that the myth that you have to forgive. This has kept many people stuck because they try to forgive, and I have many people come to me and say, listen, and I know I have to forgive, and I can't forgive, and I don't know if I can ever forgive, so I guess I'm doomed forever. And the truth is, when you do it correctly, I have helped countless number of clients recover from betrayal from any of the different causes, including relationship. And sometimes the betrayer is something that's so blatant, like the person just literally in front of the other persons do some unspeakable thing. And even in that situations, if you are not able to forgive yet, please know that you do not have to forgive. You just need to be able to release the trauma and the grief and the pain. And there are multiple different techniques that is specific to each individual. Some of them, and all of them apparently very safe. But what you need to do is to be able to release the trauma and the pain and the grief from your nervous system and from your heart, in addition to your mind. If you cannot forgive yet, that's okay. It's somewhere in you, you say, I actually don't even know. I said I'm willing to forgive because everybody says that I have to forgive. But I don't even truly know that if I am truly willing to ever truly forgive, that's okay. You do not know, but many people said you have to, but the truth is I have a countless number of clients who has not forgiven and has been able to move forward, has been able to heal, has been able to regain their life, has been able to regain their trust, and has been able to regain their freedom and create the life that they want. Have not forgiven 100% or even 50% or what have you. So the first advice I would say is to that you don't truly have to forgive. If that's what you want to do, by all means, and a skillful coach and even sometimes therapists will be able to help you. But if that's something that you have difficulty doing, and if that's something that you don't want to do, not only you have difficulty, but you said, these are just something that is too much, and I have difficult. I don't ever want to do this. That's okay. You don't have to forgive. You can still move forward, and you still be able to be 100% moving forward. And if you ever, many people, many clients, Numsa, they actually move forward, they rebuild everything and do even better than previously, and then the forgiveness come on its own.
Yeah, I think personally for me, I don't think you have to forgive because you are being told to forgive. I think forgiveness, like what you're saying, is it has to come natural because we don't forgive because we have to. We forgive it for our own health, to feel the freedom within us. So I think like what you're saying, it does make sense that I think some people they come to accept like what you're saying that fully to forgive fully is a process that you have to step by step. It is pain that every single day you have to let other things go. You have to let that part of pain go, and then the next time you let that part of pain go until you fully say, you know what? I think I have let it go now completely. So I don't believe that you can truly forgive all at once. For me, the process that I ever experienced my own is wherever I felt hurt, it's like a step by step to me. Like tomorrow, if I pray, sometimes like when I cry or I vomit, I just feel like there's this release. I cannot think about that pain anymore. So I think you are 100% right, Dr. Biggett. And your clients, they're right as well by going and building their own lives and letting natural, because natural forgiveness is actually powerful. So yeah, it is good. So what like do you have to apologize when you are forgiving, or what do you have to do? I know myself, if I'm forgiving, I have to completely repent to God because the unforgiveness, holding unforgiveness is a sin. So I don't know with the coaching, do your clients have to, do they feel that sometimes they ever have you ever have a client that says, I need to go and apologize or?
Yeah, and it's one of those that if you are the one that's being betrayed, now for the person that I would say approach it in two things, because when there is a betrayer, when a trust is broken, it involves two parties, whether it's a person and another person, or it a group of person and another group of person, or one person and a group of individual, right? But for the one that is being betrayed, so the betrayee, so somebody betrayed you, somebody did hurtful to you and break your trust. Some people find that the truth is that it takes two to tango in many situations, not always, but in many situations. Now, if you the one being betrayed, and you find that there are certain things in the process or maybe after the process that you might need to apologize, then yes, you can apologize. You don't need to. And secondly, if you find there is something that to apologize, when there is something that you feel you need to apologize, that's an opportunity for self forgiveness. Again, you don't have to, but it's an opportunity for self forgiveness, and you will benefit better forgiving yourself than going out there trying to apologize to somebody else. That's the person who are being betrayed, but a lot of people who are being betrayed, whose trust are broken, they don't feel the need to apologize. It's a lot of time, at least at the beginning, it's the other party's fault from the top to bottom, and that's okay too if that's how you see it. There is no, and when it come to trauma, when it come to grief, when it come to trust being broken, when it come to betrayal, when it come to you being hurt, hurt, there is no should. Many people say you should do this, you should do that. What should you? Should I this? Should I that? Many clients say, my friends said I should do this. My family said I should do that. My therapist says I should do this, and my neighbor or my whomever or myself or the book or my coach says I should do that, or my psychiatrist said to do that. What should I do? And I usually say, okay, there is no should. What would your heart want to do? What would your body telling you to do? Because for me specifically, everybody's different. I incorporate mind, heart, body, energy when I do coaching and healing. And so there is no should. Now, to finish answering the question, if you are the person who break the trust, if you did something and break somebody's trust, and you feel the need to apologize, can you apologize to the other person? Of course, you can. By all means, you can apologize to anybody. Do you expect that the other persons to forgive you? When you apologize, the other person, anybody, have the rights to accept versus not to accept your apology. And the question back, why are you wanting to apologize? Many times it is because you feel guilty. If you feel that you people apologize, one of two reasons. Usually there are other reasons, but usually either they apologize because they feel obligated by society standard, or they say, well, if I'm just gonna apologize. And have you ever had this experience, Numsa? People say, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and you hear it, and they say it, and they say it multiple times, but you can tell they don't mean it. They just say, I'm sorry, and you're like, you're saying you're sorry, you're not really sorry. And that's the number one, that's one of the reasons people apologize, is because they say, well, okay, let me apologize to smooth things out. You apologize because you think the other party want to hear you apologize. Therefore, you apologize. And that's number one. That's one of the reasons. And then the second reason is you truly feel that that you're responsible for certain thing and you feel bad for the persons. But usually in that scenario, while you can fully apologize if you choose to, just know that the other person has the full right to not accept your apology. Now, what might benefit you more in additions to apologizing, or if instead of apologizing, is to learn, if you feel guilty, to learn to release your guilt, to recover from your guilt and release your guilt fully.
I like that. I like that. Learn to release your guilt fully. I think that is really, really important. Is there coaches out there who tells clients what to do? Like clients, coaches telling clients to forgive and how to feel. I don't do that. I just help my clients. My clients come and tell me the decisions they have decided. If they've decided to forgive, they come and tell me that, oh, I have decided to forgive. I'm like, what brought that then? So it's either it could be something that you said to them or that triggered them to realize that actually they don't need to hold on to that pain, or sometimes it could be their own decisions that, you know what, it's not worth to holding on to this pain, and then they just let it go and try to build that trust. But what you're saying, Dr. Biggett, that people say sorry, but they don't actually mean it, it happens all the time. Because, like you see, couples, they'll say sorry to each other. When something happened, they'll be reminding each other what the other person did.
Yeah, use it as a weapon. Remember, I already apologized for that. It's just like, you're not supposed to use it as a weapon or what have you. I already apologized that I did ABC. It's like, well, okay, but it still hurt for the other person, and it will continue to hurt until they are able to release it properly.
Yeah, I think it's important to release the pain properly and truly, truly let it go for our own sake of our health. Just truly, truly let it go. And also to understand that when you forgive, and it does not mean that you're letting the other person get away with it. You're doing it for your own health, for your own freedom. And once you forgive, you move on with that and just see what the future holds and what the future brings for you. There's no point in uh, holding on to pain. I meet women who come from a broken relationship. They will tell you that I don't want to love again because of what my ex did. So I'm like, but you're right, you've written off your happiness because of somebody. And you're like, yeah, it's hard to love again. So I'm like, you shouldn't have to give yourself that, give yourself permission to love, and not to write yourself off because someone hurt you. And that person that hurt you, they go off. Actually, they live happily ever after. And they don't like you that has been hurt. You just have to hold your life. But I think people should just work on their pain and forgiveness and move on, break free, and then truly, truly decide from that forgiveness what you want to do. Because if you decide from unforgiveness, that means you can easily hold your life. So, what advice can you give someone, Dr. Biggett, right now, who is holding unforgiveness, and they are actually they put their lives on hold because of that?
Yeah, I would say, Numsada, advice if somebody holding the unforgiveness and putting their life on hold is to find a way that you are able to move forward, even if you're not able to forgive yet, or not able, whether not able or not willing to forgive yet. Now, it is beneficial for you to forgive. It will make the road possibly a little easier. But as I mentioned earlier, you actually don't have to forgive. But putting your life on hold is very different than forgiving. You can move forward and recover and release the trauma and recover from the trauma and the grief and the pain, and you can forgive. We have people who have forgiven but still have not moved forward. So that many people put it together and mix them together, but it's actually two different components. You can move forward. And many people don't realize that when there is something happen, sometimes it's little thing that happen over time, but many time it is one particular event. Even if this is something that somebody did a little bit of a time and a little bit of a time, a little bit of a time, or an organizations, usually in many cases, there's one particular event that you make you say, that's it, that's it, that's the sand on the line on the sand, that's the, that's just the last straw. And whatever it is, whether it's a little bit of the time, but and in many cases something happened and it just make you say, or it's a single or one or two incidents, it's a little bit here, a little bit there, and then something happened, you're like, that's just that make me cannot trust you anymore. That is a component of trauma. Many people don't recognize this, and many people don't recognize this and don't know how to address this, so they kind of push it aside. But there is a lot of component of trauma, and sometimes there is a lot, even a component of shock in here. And if you do not, if until you release the trauma, until you recover from the trauma and the shock, in whatever way it is, and if what the way that you've been working with is not working, then explore different ways. But until you release that, it is difficult for you to be able to move forward. Now, moving forward and forgiveness is two different components. You can forgive, and then there is a part of you, and you said, I'm fully forgive, but then I still have not moved forward. And that sometimes come from fear. It's not that you have not forgiven the person or the organizations. You have, and you are at peace, but there is a part of you that don't want to get hurt again, and therefore you don't move forward. Now the other scenario is you have not forgiven them, but you are able to release the pain and the trauma and the shock and recover, and therefore no longer in a state of fear, and you are able to move forward. So in that scenario, you're not again required to forgive. Unforgiveness is okay as long as you find ways to move forward anyway. And then of course there are the scenario where yes, you do forgive, and at the same time you move forward. Moving forward has a lot to do with releasing the fear, as releasing the pain and the trauma, and releasing the fear, usually the subconscious fear as well. But to back to your questions, how do people move forward? You want to be able to release the trauma, release the pain, and if there is a component of shock, release the shock, and then if there is, and therefore release the fear, be able to release the fear as well, release the pain, and then choose. Moving forward is the choice. Choose to move forward. And it everybody have different process. We're all different individual. what works for one person might not work for other, but just know if whatever that you've been doing is not working, then allow yourself to try a different approach.
I like that, Dr. Pickett, when you say if it's not working, try a different approach of forgiving. I think it's really, really, really important. And also for what you said before, uh, couples or whatever, whether it's family, for somebody to really define what does trust looks like, because sometimes it's hard to um, actually trust somebody when they've betrayed you. When that trust is broken, it's really, really hard. But there are some people, like you said before, there are some people that genuinely, they like to move on. They like to acknowledge the wrongs that they've done. But there are some people who will be like they are apologizing, but truly not meaning what they're saying. So that's why they say action is louder than words. Watch people what they say and then watch what they do. It's really, really important. If someone really, really is sorry, you will see the way they behave. So it's really, really important. And also to protect yourself. I know that God says we need to forgive. He says we need to forgive, not to hold grudges, but at the same time, if somebody continue hurting you, you may just need to pray for them instead of being around them, because you can't allow somebody to keep hurting you. The end of the day, you end up being broken. There's so much a human being can take. So that means when God says forgive, it means I'm prepared to forgive so many times, 1,000 times, but I'm not prepared. I can't clean up for you. So you have to let that person clean up whatever they mess for themselves, not to keep forgiving them and keep forgiving them. And also for me, what is helping me for my audience, I don't know if it's going to help them. When somebody hurt me, first I have to look at themselves. I have to look at if someone is behaving this way to me, does it mean is it something wrong that I have done, or does it mean they are dealing with some battles that I don't see? So if I basically make a decision that they have battles that they're dealing with, and at the same time, I can't clean their battles. I can pray for them, but I can't clean them. I can't clean for them. I cannot change their character or change them. But all I can do is put a good energy and give them blessings. But I just need to let it go. I cannot be part of their insanity, which is I'm not gonna be dragged down into getting angry for something that cycle that is not mine. If you hurt me, I take it. But before I used to go along with it, I would be really hurt. I would be really angry. But now I have this attitude where if someone brings wrongs in me, I have to say it is not my battle. They are battling something within them that is not for me. For me is to pray for them, love them and pray for them, but let them clean their mess. I'm not letting, when I'm saying let them clean their mess, a normal person who has dealt with their problems will not come and hurt me. And also, we all make mistakes. If I hurt someone unknowingly, I will be quick to apologize. I'll be quick to acknowledge and apologize. Sincerely apologize. But when someone does not apologize, does not acknowledge, don't go with their attitude and be dragged into that anger and end up spending money to pay a therapy. You can just refuse. That's how I'm surviving. Refusing to enter the cycle of insanity. That is not mine. Whether you hurt me, I don't protect myself. I'm like, God, I don't want to enter that insanity. This person, whatever they say, the words that they have said, I speak to those words and I cancel those words and I say, I don't want them in my life. I cancel them in the name of Jesus. So rebuke them, cancel them, but make sure they don't go to your heart, because that's where we have authority, how we respond to every situation. If someone cheats on you, they have not cheated on you, they've cheated on themselves, because it's you that they lose. So don't get upset. Maybe there is a blessing. When I'm saying there is a blessing behind, I don't know, Dr. Birgitte, where you can tell our audience where there's been like a dark cloud in front of you, and then you refuse, you clean up that cloud, you don't focus on it, you focus on your journey, and then you find actually there is glory behind it. I've been on those journeys. I don't know if you had that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those. Well, firstly, two things that you said there. I agree with you. Excuse me. That the first one is if somebody did something that is hurtful and they keep doing them, then you might, whether you want to move forward, and move forward sometimes means to, when something like really hurtful happen and your trust is broken, it will change you forever. Don't take me wrong when I say you can move forward. You will be a different person. Any trauma, any grief, any major betrayal will make you will be a different person. If you choose to, you can be one who is smarter and wiser and more fearless, so have less fear. Now, you could also choose to not move forward and be trapped by bitterness and sometimes self-pity and what have you. But anyhow, so it will change you. And at the same time, if somebody did something and then they keep doing that, maybe it's a different version of the same thing, then you might just want to care about the person. I say care about them from a distance. In other words, if somebody keep playing with fire, if somebody play with fire and it causes you to get burned once, and then it causes you to get burned twice, and it causes you to get a third-degree burn. Well, even if they said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and they mean that when they apologize, if you are staying around them and being very involved with them, you might get burned again. Excuse me. So moving forward might mean to not be tangled in them, or to, it depend on the relationship. You want to be involved really just as much as you need to, and move forward on your own and love them from a distance. So that is one thing that I would say you might want to consider doing, depend on, and this could be, let's say you are in a relationship. Many people come to me and they said, well, we have children together, so I got to deal with this person forever, for the rest of my life. It's like, okay, and you can continue having to deal with the person in a place of healed and empowered, or you can continue dealing with the person from a place of trauma and pain and anger and bitterness. And again, you definitely, it's possible for you to be healed and to come from a place of being empowered without having to fully forgive if you are not ready for that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Dr. Birgit, is really true. And also, people have to understand whether you have children with somebody or you don't. whether you have to face them. For me, I had to lay the rules with the boundaries with my ex. I had to let him know that the day we had a child together, it was the day your name and my name went to my family tree and your family tree. So therefore, you are not going to fight me because I see you as my family. So I don't fight my family. So the only thing that you can do, we have one choices. The relationship hasn't worked. If the relationship hasn't worked, as in when you head into counseling, you deal with your problems, and then we try to, I deal with my problems, and then we say we get back together if we get back together. But there is another option. You don't fight me to hold me captivity because you feel like it. So I had to lay the ground. Me, whether I have a child with you or I don't have a child, you don't get to control my life. Honestly, I've learned that the hard way. Some people do the talking. Me, I go into prayer. I do not fight the father of my children because they are my family. They become my family. And that is tormenting a soul, which is innocent children. But some people don't have that leverage. You have to know how the universe works. You see, when people say the words are very, very powerful. You get to speak, tell the universe, what do you desire for yourself? Not when somebody is fighting you and you go with them. That's the energy that you get. But if you look at someone in the eye and say, you listen to me, you wanted this relationship, whether it's a family member or is a ex, you tell them straight away that you're not going to torment my life. I'm not gonna go into insanity because you want to fight me. I'm not. Once somebody knows that they cannot fight you. For me, with my ex, I had to lay the ground. Say I'm not staying because he was hurt. I was hurt. But for me, I had to go straight to counseling, dealing with my issues, but he wasn't. And in order for him to deal with his issues, he was now fighting me. So I was like, no, you don't get to do that. You either go and deal with your battles with the counselor, you don't deal with the battles with me, tormenting me. But in the end, he came to realize, he came back to me and say, Nomsa, you are a nightmare, but you make sense. I was like, yes, I do make sense. There's no point in battling with me because I'm not the cause of problems when relationship doesn't work. It means you have your own battles, I have mine. So we have to deal with those battles as individual. And then if we want to get back together, we come together as one, dealing with them as a family. But in the end, he understood, and then he stopped battling with me. But you have to lay the ground. But some people don't understand it. When someone is fighting, they go under the pillows, they go into their friends, they'll sit down for coffee, entertaining. In the universe, there is an energy as well. When you entertain negativity, it goes on and on and on. But when you break it, the negativity will know that I cannot play with this one. We will go somewhere else. So that's,
Yeah.
I don't know, any advice you have, Dr. Birgit?
Well, with the time that we have, I just want to say that please know that when your trust is broken, the grief recovery specialist has this saying that you have a 1% responsibility. Whatever that happened, you have a 1% responsibility, and that is the responsibility on how you're going to feel. All your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that it is going to particularly be easy, breezy, and happen like that. Sometimes it takes work, take actions, particularly if this is something that particularly deeply hurtful. But at the end of the day, whatever that happened, you have the 1% responsibility to be able to move forward. Now, not everything that's out there we know as grief and trauma specialists what from multiple different institutions, organizations, training centers that I'm certified on, that many things out there are myth, are not correct. Just like the concept of you must forgive first. No, that you are possible. It's possible to move forward without forgiving, but at the same time, you got to choose to move forward. And you got to take the actions that allow you to move forward, whatever that the actions that's required that you specifically need to take. And so I would say at the end of the day, even that is no right or wrong answer. It's your choice to choose. But if you have your trust broken, you can choose to move forward, and you can choose to be able to recover from it and regain your life, or you can choose to stay bitter and to be able to be basically defeated by the whole situations. But at the end of the day, it's a choice. Everything in our life is a choice, and if you choose to move forward, then take the actions, as we said earlier, allow help. And if what you're doing, whether it's self-study or the help that you're receiving is not helping you, then continue to discover something else. If you want to know more of what I do, I have a public event coming up on January 18th on Saturday morning, Pacific time. So European time, it's Saturday evening, that will allow you, and when you move forward, just know that it will be best benefiting you if you're able to move forward. We talk about this briefly from a place of being empowered and heal instead of a place of fear, because sometimes even after we forgive, we still have fear, and then you're not moving forward from a place of being empowered. You might be healed, but you might still be fearful. Human are complex like that, and you want to be able to move forward from a place of healed, that you have been able to release and recover from the trauma and the pain, and also empowered, that it is not coming from fear, because if you are coming from fear, you continue to be trapped. But whether you work with a coach, a therapist, or on your own or what have you, just know that there is hope, that there are help out there available in multiple different ways. Again, I help in one way, but there are people working in different ways. Just if what you're doing is not helping you, keep looking, keep allowing support until you get to where you want to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggett. I think I'm not sure if I have anything to add, but you're really, really holding unforgiveness. I'll say, love yourself first. If you love yourself enough, you will let it go, forgive, and let your life shine. Because if you don't forgive, that means you hold unforgiveness. That is a stagnation. So forgiveness is really, really important. No matter how much that person has broken that trust, and just rebuild, because you, like Dr. Biggett said, he said you have a choice. How you respond to every situation is your choice. Me, I refuse to get dragged down into the battles that are not mine. The battle we face in life, I refuse. When I'm being dragged into a situation, I have to look into a situation. Do I really need to be in this situation? And then I'll be like, give a hug and say, you know what? I love you, but I'm not entering in. Sometimes the people say it hurts when somebody, but sometimes it's a blessing. I have tried this so many times, and I have realizing that when somebody twists, they changed on you, they fight you, and you walk away. Sometimes it is a blessing, but when you fight back, you hinder what you are meant to do, because you're meant to get creative, you're meant to love. When that is blocking, you can't love, you cannot get creative. So the best way is not to be dragged in the battles that are not yours. Me is my bloodline iniquity. I check me out. Whenever things go wrong, I go and check Nomsa out. So, guys, if you're watching us from YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel on LinkedIn. Please do follow us and share the video. If you want to find your own voice lead from within, please do go to the website and sign up to find your own voice. And we have coaches that can help you find your own voice and lead from within. If you are looking for love, please do connect or sign up to the website as well. It's www.hseia.coach. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless. Have a beautiful weekend. Can't believe it's the third today. Live with grace.